What is up, everyone, and welcome to some more F1 My Team career mode, and we're here for round number 5 of season 7 of our Jaguar Racing career. It is of course the final season, as I've been saying in pretty much every video so far, and every race we do here will be the last time we will do it in the beautiful green and currently green and purple livery that we've been running for 7 seasons at this point. It will be the last time for a little while that we're doing anything related to my team or anything like that. Next up will be, of course, driver career in F1 24. So yeah, we're just looking forward to the last few races that we've got going on here, and hopefully we'll be able to give a good account of ourselves in the last races that we've got going on as well. This is going to be the Azerbaijan Grand Prix here today. We're currently riding off the back of the Chinese Grand Prix, in which I was hoping that I would be able to contend for at least a podium from pole position. It's not one of my strongest tracks, but as you can see here, I was only able to come home in 6th after a very, very chaotic race. It was just a lot of back and forth battling between myself and the rest of the cars around me. You know, the likes of Lando Norris, Alex Albon, Oscar Piastri. We were battling back and forth with them all the time, and I think George Russell came home in P1 in that race, won his 2nd race of the season, and currently leads me by 20 points in the Drivers' Championship off the back of this race. So yeah, hopefully I can have a bit of a turnaround, but as I'm sure those of you who've watched the series before will know, BAKU, not one of my strongest circuits. It takes me a little while to warm up into the championship usually, and I think that's just due to the fact that there's quite a lot of difficult circuits at the start of the calendar, like BAKU, like China, like Saudi Arabia. These circuits never go particularly well for me. So yeah, we're hoping that that this can at least be a fruitful race for us, at least a points finish or something like that, just to keep us sort of, you know, alive and kicking in the championship, and hopefully not too far behind the Red Bulls, particularly because they currently lead the Constructors' Championship, both Russell and Ocon having a really strong start to the season, which you know, you wouldn't typically have pegged Esteban Ocon to be up there in the championship fight, but at the moment he is. He actually won the opening round in Bahrain and has had some more podium finishes since that point as well. So yeah, he's having a strong season, Russell's having a strong season, and that win in Australia is about the only thing that's sort of putting me in the conversation at the moment. We've had a P1, a P4 and a P6, and those have been our only points finishes in the first 4 races. We DNF'd in the opening race in Bahrain, of course. So yeah, we're going to see what kind of pace we can produce over the course of the weekend. I'm going to be running a different setup here than I've ran in the years gone by, and that actually allowed me to feel a little bit faster in practice, even if we didn't finish in the top 14 here. I felt like I had some decent pace in the car, and that we were able to pass the practice programs with you know, relative ease. Just increase the downforce on the car a little bit. It's compromised us slightly in a straight line, but hopefully should make us a bit faster through that middle sector, where in years gone by we've lost up to a second to the cars around us. So I'm hoping that increasing the downforce by quite a significant margin actually should be the difference between us being able to race and being left in the dust like we have been in previous years. So we make our way into Q1 now. We're on a fresh set of soft compound tyres, and we're going to see what kind of time we can do. First aim, of course, is to get out of Q1, then get out of Q2, and then maybe we can look at where we've been performing in those sessions to set a target for ourselves in Q3. It's a 140.3 at the moment. I would wait to say that's not even going to be close enough to fast enough to get us out of the session, because I think we'll need a 139 at least. And yeah, you can see as we make our way onto our second flying lap on another fresh set of soft compound tyres. We're currently down in 19th, but we are improving by 7/10 of a second, and as we cross the line, it's a 139.6, which is good enough to put us in P10 and see us through to Q2 with no real issues. So yeah, we make our way through to Q2. The pace that we showed there would have been good enough to get us through to Q3 as well, which is nice. We were only a few hundredths of a second faster than Perez, as Gasly actually is the one who goes fastest there. The Alpine's having a really strong season at the moment, but knocked out here, Tsunoda, De Vries, Lando Norris, perhaps somewhat surprisingly, along with Doohan, Magnussen and Stroll. So yeah, Lando Norris, who, as I'm sure you were aware, I was racing with for the majority of the last race. He ended up coming P5 in that race. He will be out in Q1 here in Saudi Arabia, in Azerbaijan, and he'll have a bit of a tall order on his hands. It is, of course, a sprint weekend, so he will have 2 opportunities to make his way into the points over the course of the weekend, but still not the way it would have he would have wanted it to start, I imagine. We did a decent time on our banker lap on a used set of soft compound tyres. It was in the 140s again, however, so we're going to need quite a big improvement here if we want really any chance of making it through. We're currently down in P16. Leclerc is going to be out no matter what. He's currently down in 12th. It's just a case of whether we can get a good enough result to knock him down into 13th or not, as we're improving by 1.4 seconds as we come on the run to the line. Cross it to do a 1:39.2. That should obviously be good enough to get us through, right? Only in P8, surprisingly. I would have thought that we would have done a little bit better than that, but no, P8 is all that time nets us. So it's an Alpine 1-2 here in Q1, or Q2 I should say, as Vesti and Gasly go fastest. We are P8, and then Leclerc, like I said, is knocked out along with Sargent in the Aston Martin. Albon and Piastri, 2 drivers who were quite high up in last race. And then Fittipaldi and Joe. So we've lost quite a Sargent as well, actually. He was on the podium in the last race. He was P3, I believe, at the conclusion of the last race. So quite a few people who were racing in the points last race. Nowhere in qualifying on this occasion. It's only Russell and Ocon who've actually made it through, along with myself, who finished in the top 7 in the last race. So as we round the first corner after doing our first flying lap in Q3, it's a 1:40.1 on our banker lap, but we'll see what kind of time we can do on our fresh set of soft compound tyres here in Q3. And what you can see as we make our way around the last corner that you really have to brake for here, we are currently about 1.2 seconds worth of improvement, but when we tag the wall, I think I was very lucky not to crash or get any damage or anything like that. You might remember in previous games that that wall was somewhat lethal if you made any contact with it, but not on this occasion. And as we come up to the line, we're into the 138, so it's a 138.9, and that is good enough to put us in P6, which actually, all things considered, is a pretty strong qualifying performance here in Azerbaijan.
With qualifying finished, it's time to remind ourselves of our top 3, Ocon, Gasly and Frederic Vesti. Goodbye for now then, but we are really just getting started. Make sure you join us again for Lights Out tomorrow.
Esteban Ocon bagging pole position here again. He has already finished on the podium on multiple occasions this season. He is a potential championship contender, the Frenchman, and this will stand him in really good stead to catch up to his teammate in the Drivers' Championship. Also 2 Alpines in the top 3 as well, but we'll see what we can do as we have 2 opportunities to score points in the Azerbaijan Grand Prix.
So it is all about speed in today's sprint. Not very many laps and no chance to get ahead on strategy. Who here today has the raw skill to take them to the top? Let's run you through the driver grid order for today's exciting sprint. Esteban Ocon lines up on pole position, with Pierre Gasly alongside. Moving on to the rest of the grid, we have Vesti, Hauger, Perez, Robinson, Russell, Teo Porcher, Verstappen, Liam Lawson, Sargent, Albon, Leclerc, Oscar Piastri, Fittipaldi, Joe, Tsunoda, De Vries, Norris, Doohan, Magnussen, and Lance Stroll brings the grid to a close. Which of these drivers will get pole position today? We will soon find out.
Okay, we've got that relief of having points on the board finally, so let's keep that form up and get another top 10 finish today, please.
Yeah, I think that points would be achievable here, starting in P6 if we can have a good start, especially. I think we have a really good chance of getting ourselves at least into the top 5 here, and hopefully we'll be able to race with the cars around us and yeah, not just get absolutely swallowed up. I am a little bit concerned though. Obviously, like I told you, I was running a higher downforce setup. I'm wondering if this is going to compromise us slightly in a straight line, and if the AI drivers do managed to sort of stay with us in the sort of corners and the tight technical sector 2. I am a little bit concerned that they will just breeze straight past us on the straights, but all we can do is try our best and hope that doesn't happen and that we can be a bit more competitive than I'm anticipating might be the case. So we'll see what we can do as the lights come on. and the lights go out, and we've had a good getaway here compared to Perez and Hauger, and we're already up into P4. Gasly, meanwhile, he's under pressure from his teammate. The two Alpines going wheel to wheel through the first corner, and we're going to see if we can get ahead of Pierre Gasly as he's gone up to the inside of turns 1 and 2 here. He goes a bit deep into turn 2. We're going to see if we can get the switchback on him now and make our way up into P3. Meanwhile, Ocon and Vesti have absolutely disappeared up the road. Already 1 second ahead of me is Frederick Vesti in P2. And Pierre Gasly looks like he's going to come back for seconds here on the run into turn 3. Make contact with the tyres, wheel to wheel through the corner, but eventually he will have to back out, or will he? Yes, he will, as we make our way through turn 4. Eventually, Pierre Gasly will have to settle and say, no, that's not a move I think I'm capable of making. So, yeah, he's going to have to settle for P4 for the time being, but I'm sure that we will see more from him as the race goes on. Meanwhile, you can see Frederick Vesti is almost 3 seconds ahead of me. Ocon almost a second ahead of him as well. Ocon has gapped pretty much everyone apart from Vesti by almost 5 seconds at this stage, so I'd be very surprised if anyone other than him wins here today. But Gasly will want to make it 2 Alpines in the top 3 in the sprint, as he's looking to make a move on me on the run to turn 1. We're currently burning quite a lot of battery, but Pierre Gasly I think will be able to get ahead of us here, and maybe Hauger as well. We're going to brake nice and late into the corner. Some might say too late, because I definitely think I made contact with Gasly and pushed him off there, and that has allowed him to lose a position to Dennis Hauger as well. So Dennis Hauger making his way up into P4 ahead of the Alpine driver, and as we make our way to the end of lap 2, it's now Dennis Hauger, the one that's piling the pressure on me, and I wouldn't be surprised if he's looking to go for a move here. Ocon now 7 seconds ahead of me after just 2 laps. Absolutely ridiculous, the level of battling that I've been doing behind, and it's not ending just yet, because here comes Dennis Hauger up the inside. We have the better exit from the corner though. Will he look for another move into turn 2? You bet he will. He goes nice and deep into the corner, but he can't go that deep because we're on his outside, and he doesn't want to end both of our races here. So I do manage to stay ahead of Dennis Hauger for the time being. Will he look for another move up the inside into turn 3? Yes, he will. Wheel to wheel through the 3rd consecutive corner with Dennis Hauger, but he backs out, and as we enter the technical section of the lap, he will have to wait until the end of lap 3, where you can see he's a lot closer this time, and already before we're even in the DRS zone, Dennis Hauger is going for a move up the inside, and that will become the outside of turn 1. Not that it will matter to him, because he will have a completely clean track all around him basically. I try and look for a move around the outside of Dennis Hauger, but ultimately I just don't have the braking performance in the car to be able to brake around the outside of him on this occasion. So we're going to see if we can stay with him over the next few laps, and hopefully contend to take back that P3 position off of my former teammate from seasons 2 and 3. But something tells me that it may just be a little bit too much of a tall order to stay with the man from Norway. So yeah, we will have to hope that we can catch up with him. And fortunately, as we make our way towards the end of lap 7, so 3 laps have elapsed since that point. That is not an easy sentence to say by any stretch of the imagination. We actually stayed with him, and now we're going to go for a move around the outside with the DRS. We're a bit closer to him on this occasion than we were when he tried to defend it from him, and you can see that we have actually managed to pull off the move. He's not going to attack us into turn 2 this time, but what is the gap looking like as we exit turn 2? I think Hauger's made a mistake there by the looks of things, because you can see the gap has increased to almost 9/10 of a second, and Dennis Hauger is not going to look for a move into turn 3 on this occasion, and we may have gotten away with this one, but we've still got another lap and a half to hold on to it. We held on all the way to the end of sector 2 in the final lap of the race, but there will still be one more DRS zone and one more opportunity for Hauger to catch us. How quick is the man from Norway feeling today? Is he thinking that he can make up 8/10 in the space of one straight? Well, he's already made up about a tenth or so before we've even got to the DRS zone. He'll have a bit of time in the DRS zone before the finish line comes up, but at the moment I just seem to be getting further and further away from him. He doesn't challenge us, and we take P3 in the sprint here today. It was P1 for Esteban Ocon. I believe it was Frederick Vesti in P2 there as well, so yeah, he'll be very happy with that. Potentially injecting himself into the championship fight as well, the Dane, and like I said, yeah, it's P3 for us.
That lead at the top of the table has shrunk somewhat today. Let's see what effect this result has had on the drivers' standings. With the sprint wrapped up, we now have our grid line up for the big race tomorrow. Be sure to join us then for what will no doubt be a fantastic race.
Well, it is interesting to see that Leclerc actually went backwards in that race, but let's see if he can make a bit more progress, and let's see what we can do as we get into the race proper.
Good afternoon and welcome from Baku. This was the arena, if you think back to 2017, of one of the most eventful races of modern history, with controversy behind the safety car, last-second overtakes, and a historic podium for Williams and Lance Stroll. Let's find out what lies in store for us this year. It's time for the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. Baku City Circuit then, it's an unpredictable 3.7-mile track around the streets of the Azerbaijan capital. 20 turns for our drivers to navigate today, including the infamous Turn 8, one of the tightest and most challenging corners of the season. It's time to see how our drivers are stacking up after yesterday's exciting qualifying session. Esteban Ocon lines up on pole position, and Frederik Vesti completes the front row. Looking at the rest of today's grid, we have Robinson, Hauger, Perez, Russell, Gasly, Verstappen, Albon, Liam Lawson, Teo Porcher, Sargent, Fittipaldi, Leclerc, Oscar Piastri, Magnussen, Tsunoda, De Vries, Joe, Doohan, Norris, and Lance Stroll brings the grid to a close. Which of these talented drivers will come out on top today?
Alex Jakes with nothing to say in the intro here. I don't know how much time that I'm really going to have to say my piece either, but yeah, just hopefully we can get another good result in the race as well.
Okay, here we go. I know what you can do. Don't let me down.
So I've never won here before, Bahrain. I think my best result here was a P4 finish, if I'm not mistaken, at least at F123. So it would be nice to win this race. It's going to be a very, very difficult challenge, though. Esteban Ocon looked absolutely rapid in the sprint, and I'm sure that he will showcase some similar pace in that Red Bull in the race as well. But yeah, like I said, if I can get a victory here today, that would be absolutely amazing. But there are 26 long laps between myself and a chance for victory here, and if Azerbaijan has taught us anything over the years, is that it's very hard to win from anywhere sort of near the top three. I'm trying to think of people who've won it in years gone by. Maybe in the most recent iterations of the Azerbaijan Grand Prix, it's been different, and you know, it's just been Red Bull dominated. But in the years before that, you know, it used to throw up some very unpredictable chaos, and you could never really tell, even if you were starting in, you know, P12, P13. I think Ricciardo's victory was from P12, if I'm not mistaken. So, yeah, we're going to have to really hope there's not too much chaos and that we can just showcase some good pace as the lights come on. And the lights go out for the second time here this weekend in Azerbaijan, and Ocon's actually had a slow start, and it's looking like it might be Frederik Vesti looking for a move into the lead, but Ocon hanging around the outside. He's going to maybe have the superior traction on the run to turn 2. Vesti will have the inside line though. Who is going to let up in this battle? Vesti and Ocon wheel to wheel. Vesti gets held up. We make a bit of contact with his rear left tyre, and as a result of that we have to check to make sure we don't have any front wing damage. I think it was actually his rear right tyre, but anyway. And Vesti's coming back at us now. He's looking for a move back into P2 if he can get it, and I think he may have just actually pulled it off, but he goes a bit too deep into the corner. We're going to go for the cutback on the Dane, make our way up into P2, and yeah, we just about managed to pull this move off actually, but once again Esteban Ocon is absolutely waltzing away from the rest of the field. 1 second the gap to me already, and this is going to put me in a lot of trouble and under a lot of pressure from the cars behind, unless I can get back inside the DRS range of the Frenchman before the end of lap 2. But he just seems to be getting further and further away at the moment. The gap 1.1 seconds at the moment. I just can't seem to bring it down no matter how hard I try, even through this tight technical sector 2 that is usually my wheelhouse here in Azerbaijan. Once again, you can see the gap still just 1.1 seconds. Esteban Ocon pulling away quite significantly now on the run down to the end of sector 2. So I think my opportunity to stay ahead of him may have evaporated, or I should say stay with him. It might have evaporated a little bit here by the looks of things, but still Frederik Vesti is only 5/10 behind me, so he could definitely go for a move into P2 if we're not careful here. Sergio Perez as well on those soft compound tyres will be looking to take a bit of a move. Dennis Hauger has already lost 1 second to the car in front of him, Sergio Perez. So I think starting on the hards there may not have been the play for Dennis Hauger, but we'll see what kind of performance he can deliver. As Frederik Vesti is going for a move into turn 1 up the inside, caught me a little bit unawares there possibly, and we're going to have to try and do everything we can to stay with him. He's going to defend to the inside of turn 2, however, and that's going to cause him to go a bit deep, which is going to allow us to stay right with him as we exit turn 2 and through what will be a DRS zone. No DRS just yet. We're going to be burning a little bit of battery as we dummy him to the inside, try and send it around the outside, but we go a bit too deep into the corner, and my goodness, my life flashed before my eyes. I thought I was going to be out of the race then, as we almost crashed straight into the wall. That would have been a bad way for the race to end on lap 2, especially considering I'm gunning for the win here still. I think I need there to be a safety car now. 3 seconds is the gap to Esteban Ocon, but still, P2 could be very achievable here, so I don't want to do any big mistakes and put myself out of the race if I can possibly help it. So yeah, well, it turns out that I don't have to do any mistakes for me to be out of the race, because that's a mechanical failure that's just flashed up on my screen. And yeah, I mean, what is this? We're on a 97 reliability engine at the moment. I know it's Ferrari, but still, 97 reliability. And somehow that's 2 mechanical failures in the first 5 races. Unless there's no mechanical failures for the rest of the season, something seriously is amiss here, because this should not be happening at this frequency, especially not this early on in the season. 97 reliability, and that's what I get given. At least, unlike the last times on last year's game when I retired in Baku, it hasn't sent me flying straight into the wall there. So yeah, I don't really know why the reliability is like this. I have my theories and my suspicions, which maybe I'll discuss in a second, but I mean, look, this is just completely unacceptable from you know, an engine manufacturer who we're paying a premium. They are the most expensive engine manufacturer on the grid at the moment, and you're telling me that they can't even make a car that doesn't blow up you know, less than 2 times in 5 races. It's an absolute joke, and it needs to be improved sooner rather than later.
So as they climb out of the car, the Red Bull team are ready and waiting to celebrate a thoroughly deserved win. Anthony Davidson, what helped them deliver this result, do you think?
Well, they certainly stood out as a drive with tons of confidence on the track. I think their ability to keep their cool, even during some of the more hectic parts of the race, meant they were able to capitalise on the mistakes of other drivers, giving them the opportunity to make their way to the top spot with ease.
The drivers are en route to the podium as we speak. What a fantastic win for the Red Bull team. They've performed exceptionally today, keeping us firmly on the edge of our seats throughout the entirety of the race. Congratulations to everyone at the team.
Well, it is the Ocon show here in Azerbaijan. He wins the sprint, he wins the race, and he leads home a 1-2 for Red Bull, which is awful news for us for both the Drivers and the Constructors' Championship, as they will break away quite significantly. I'll be curious to see where Charles Leclerc finished in the race, and whether he managed to bag any sort of damage limitation points for Jaguar Racing or not. Meanwhile, former Jaguar Racing man Dennis Hauger finishes P3 on the podium, another solid result for one of the upcoming stars of Formula 1 at the moment.
So let's have a look then at the drivers' standings. This result narrows the gap between our championship leader and the rest of the standings. After an incredible day of racing, who was your driver of the day, Ant?
Let's give it to Esteban Ocon. That was a commanding performance today. Very impressive indeed.
It's time to check out the constructors' standings. Red Bull pull further ahead in the standings.
Meanwhile, good work from Aston Martin this weekend, who pushed themselves further up the order.
Been an absolutely wild weekend of Formula 1 action. I can't wait to see what's next.
Yeah, I just this has really cost us quite heavily here. You can see we've fallen, what, 40 points behind George Russell in the standings. We're down in P4 in the drivers now as a result of that DNF, and we're in P3 in the constructors behind even Aston Martin now, almost half the points of Red Bull after the first 5 races. This season is going to start spiraling and getting further and further away from us if we don't get on top of this reliability issue very soon. I don't know if it's hard-coded in the game. That's like when you're doing too well, it will just randomly splash a DNF or 2 on you, or whether it's a Ferrari thing and the game just hard codes Ferrari engines to fail all the time. But either way, you know, I can't have this happen too many more times this season, or we're going to be in big trouble. But that is going to be it for this video. So if you enjoyed, please make sure you like and subscribe, and hopefully I will see you in the next one.